Hi girls. So today's topic is going to be legal capacity to contract. Okay, so we've been seeing the various essentials of a valid contract in detail. So the next essential that we have to see is the legal capacity to enter into a contract. So what is this legal capacity? Now capacity means a qualification, okay, that which is needed, a status or an attribute that which needs to be there in an individual in order to enter into a legal contract. So if that qualification is not there, then he will not be allowed to enter into a contract. So what is that qualification or rather capacity? Okay, qualification arises when a person is a major, okay, and when he is of sound mind, and when he is not disqualified from entering into a contract by any law to which he is subject. So these are the qualifications. I repeat, what are the qualifications for entering into a contract? That is, a person needs to be a major, he should be of sound mind, and he should not have been disqualified from any law or by any law to which he is subject. Okay, so when does a disqualification arise, or rather what are the disqualifications? When is a person disqualified from entering into a contract? When a person is a minor, and when he is of not a sound mind, that is, he is an unsound minded person, or rather if a person is disqualified from any law to enter into a contract to which he is subject. In all of these cases, he is disqualified from entering into a contract. I repeat, the disqualification arises when a person is a minor, when he is unsound minded, and when a person is disqualified by law, by any law to which he is subject. So these are the disqualifications. So in this topic, we are going to see all those persons who are disqualified from entering into a contract, their capacities and effects of entering into a contract with such kind of disqualified persons. Okay, so we are going to see first a disqualified person, that is a minor. So like I told you, there are few people who are disqualified from entering into a contract, who do not have the capacity to enter into a contract. Among them, the first individual or first person or first incapable person is a minor. Now many times I ask you in your examination for 2 marks as to who is a minor. Okay, so it's very simple. A minor is a person who is below the age of 18. Okay, but in case he has a guardian, okay, a legal representative, then he becomes a major only at the age of 21, and he is called a minor until he attains that 21 years of old, 21 years old. Now if he is not having a legal representative, rather if he is not having a guardian, then he is a major after 18 years. Okay, so what should you write when you are asked a question as to who is a minor? A minor is a person who is below the age of 18 years. Alright, okay, so let's see the nature of a minor's agreement and the effects of a minor's agreement. Okay, what are the effects of entering into a contract with a minor? Now, what does the topic means? Effect means consequences. What are the consequences you all might suffer, or any individual might suffer, if he enters into a contract with a minor? I hope all of you all are a major. So you need to know the capacity of a minor, and when you enter into contact with a minor, what are the consequences of such kind of an agreement? Okay, so first consequence is there is no estoppel against a minor. Okay, I repeat, there is no estoppel against a minor. So what is the meaning of this estoppel? Okay, see, there is already a law which states that now for example, when you would see the different types of contracts, under that you would have seen something called as a void agreement. So what is a void agreement? A void agreement is nothing but an agreement that which cannot be enforced by law. Okay, or rather it's not even a contract, it's only called as an agreement. Now an agreement should have the enforceability by the court of law, only then it will be called as a contract. But an agreement with a minor is a void agreement. It is something which is void ab initio. Right from the very beginning, it is void. It cannot be validated. Do you understand? So it is clearly told that entering into a contract with a minor is void. Okay, so you cannot go against a statute, you cannot contradict a statute. The statute says you cannot enter into a contract with a minor. If you enter, it's void. Okay, so what is this no estoppel against a minor means? You cannot go against a statute. Now, according to this point, even if a minor misrepresents his age and enters into a contract with another person, what is the meaning of misrepresenting the age? In the sense, he does not reveal that he is a minor. Say for example, somebody has entered into a contract with you and he has not revealed that he is his true age, that he is a minor. Rather, he's told you that he is a major and he has entered into a contract. Okay, so even if he has misrepresented his age and entered into a contract with another person, even then the court of law will still protect a minor. Even if it is proved in the court of law that it was he who has cheated, the minor only has cheated and made the other person enter into a contract, even then the court of law will support the minor only, because the court of law itself cannot contradict its own rules and regulations. It cannot go against its own rules and regulations. It's already made it as a rule that you cannot enter into a contract with a minor, and if you enter into a contract with a minor, the contract is void. It cannot be executed by the court of law. So even if it is known to the court of law that the minor only has cheated and made the other person enter into a contract, even then the other party will not be supported by the court of law. Only the minor will be supported. So we should always be careful when we enter into a contract with another person. As far as his qualification is concerned, then later on, even if any disqualification arises, especially when he is a minor, nothing can be done. You will undergo losses. So that is what is called as no estoppel against a minor. So next point says no liability in contract or in tort arising out of a contract. Okay, I repeat, no liability in a contract or in a tort arising out of a contract. Now let me make it clear that even if a minor is made to enter into a contract, he will not be imposed any kind of liabilities, okay, on him, and he'll be admitted only for benefits in a contract and or profits in a contract and not for liabilities. So that's the first thing. So there cannot be any liability that which can be imposed on a minor. Other than that, even or in a tort arising out of a contract. So what is a tort? Tort is nothing but a legal liability. So out of entering into a contract, if there is any kind of a legal liability which might arise, even for that he is not going to be held liable. So for this point, I'll give you this case example. Okay, this is the most popular case, many times asked also in examination, as to what are the details of the case. Moheri Bibi versus Dharmodas Ghosh. So this entire case details is there in this particular point. So you can go through this point, okay, and the details of this case. Sometimes they are asked in the examination. Okay, so in this case, I repeat, the name of the case is Moheri Bibi versus Dharmodas Ghosh. Okay, so according to this case, the details of the case is there is a minor who wants a loan of rupees 20,000, for which he enters into a contract with a landlord. Okay, mortgagee. What he does is he pledges his house and asks for a loan of rupees 20,000, while the mortgagee pays him only rupees 8,000. The loan that was asked by the minor is 20,000, but the mortgagee takes into consideration the house of a minor, takes it into possession, and then gives a loan of rupees 8,000. Now the minor, what he does is he files a case against the mortgagee, asking or claiming for the property. Now, as it is, I told you, it is held that a contract with the minor is always void. It is void ab initio, right from the very beginning. It is something which is invalid. Okay, so it was held in the court of law that the mortgagee had to return the property back to the minor, and when the mortgagee at least claimed for the advance amount of 8,000 which was given to the minor, even that was not asked to be returned back, okay, by the court of law from the minor. That is, a minor need not even pay back that sum of amount money which he received, 8,000 rupees, from the mortgage. So did you understand? To such an extent, the court of law will protect a minor. Okay, so his land was also, his house was also given back to him, and 8,000 rupees was also a loss to the mortgagee. So that's why you should be very careful from entering into a contract with a minor. A minor is always protected by the court of law. So there is no liability for which you can admit a minor also in a contract, and there cannot be any kind of tort. So the tort here is that 8,000 rupees, a legal liability. So even that was not asked to be restored back to the mortgage. So that makes the point clear. So next one is doctrine of restitution. So what is this doctrine of restitution? The meaning of restitution is to restore back something. Okay, to give back something. To restore back something is what is called as restitution. So what does this doctrine say? Doctrine of restitution clearly says that, say for example, a minor again misrepresents his age, enters into a contract with another person, wherein that person has supplied certain goods to the minor, for which the minor has to pay. Okay, compensation. Last class I taught you consideration. So he has to compensate for those goods, while the minor is not compensated. I repeat the example. A minor has misrepresented his age and entered into a contract with another person. So that person has supplied certain goods to the minor, and the minor is supposed to now compensate for the goods, but he is not compensated. So the other person files a case in the court of law asking the minor to restore the goods back to him. So that's what is doctrine of restitution. Restore the goods back to him. So when will a minor be asked to restore the goods? The minor will be asked to restore the goods only when the goods are still found in his possession. Okay, only when the goods are still found in his possession. If the goods are still with him, and if the court of law, after checking, finds out that the goods are still with him, then the minor will be asked to give back all those goods to the person with whom he has entered into a contract. Supposing, say, another situation wherein the minor has already sold all the goods what was supplied by the other party. Now in this case, he will not be asked to restore back the goods, or he will not be asked even to pay for the goods. So that is what is the meaning of doctrine of restitution. I repeat, a good or a property will be asked to be restored back only when it is found in the possession of the minor, and when it is not found in the possession of the minor, it will not be asked to restore. Okay, next one is no ratification. So no ratification, ratification is, the meaning of ratification is validation. Okay, you cannot validate a contract that which is entered into with a minor. Okay, say for example, you have entered into a contract with a minor when he was 17 years old, and now when he has turned 18, you cannot validate that contract which was entered into when he was a minor. I hope I made that point clear. I repeat, you have entered into a contract with a minor when he was a minor, when he was 17 years old. Now when he turns a major, you cannot validate that contract. Okay, ratify that contract which you had entered into when he was a minor. Rather, a new or a fresh agreement has to be entered into when he becomes a major. Okay, next one is beneficial contracts. Now all this while I kept telling you that you should not enter into a contract with a minor. Even if you enter into a contract, if there is any kind of liability which might arise, or rather if there is going to be any tort which might arise, in all these cases the court of law will only protect the minor, and the other party in the contract will not be protected. Okay, he will not be helped out by the court of law, because entering into a contract with a minor is void. But there are certain contracts which can be entered into with a minor, and those are nothing but beneficial contracts. So what are these beneficial contracts? There are two different types of beneficial contracts that which can be entered into with a minor. First one is a contract of marriage, another one is a contract of apprenticeship. Okay, a contract of apprenticeship. So these are two different types of contracts which can be entered into with a minor, and you can claim for any kind of liabilities in these kind of contracts. So first one is the contract of marriage. So what is this contract of marriage? Now we would have all heard many times that you cannot enter into a contract of marriage unless and until you are 18 years old. But in a society like India, many times you would have found people married even before 18. and that sometimes may be a beneficial contract for the minor. Okay, if it is going to benefit, if it is going to be for the safety of the minor, for the protection of the minor, then a contract of marriage is valid. Okay, between a minor girl and a major boy, or a minor girl and a minor boy, anything as such. Okay, but then this contract of marriage is valid on the consent of all the parties who are connected with the marriage. Who are all the parties who are connected with the marriage? That is the bride, the groom, the bride's father and the mother, the parents, and then the groom's father and mother. So all these parties are connected with the contract of marriage. So that's why it's many times told that you cannot marry when you are a minor without the consent of your parents. Okay, so if it is for the benefit and if it's agreed by all the parties who are concerned with the contract of marriage, then the contract of marriage is valid. Okay, next one is contract of apprenticeship. So what is this apprenticeship? Apprenticeship is all about gaining some sort of knowledge and training. Okay, so you can take your own example. You have been studying in school, college, when you are a minor, isn't it? So, and still the contract of apprenticeship is valid between you and the organization, the educational institution. Yeah, so this is again for your benefit as a minor. Okay, so what is the benefit? The benefit of the minor is to gain knowledge and get trained for his future, okay, profession or anything of that sort. So therefore it is again valid to enter into such kind of contracts. So these are two beneficial contracts for which you can enter into your a contract with a minor. Next one is liability for necessaries. Liability for necessaries. So I told you already that a contract entered into a minor is void, and the minor will not be held responsible for any liabilities. But then he is liable for his necessaries. So what are his necessaries? What are the basic necessities of any individual? It is food, clothing, and shelter. So for this food, clothing, and shelter, a minor becomes liable. Okay. So first thing is food. So say if you are a minor, you cannot go to any restaurant you feel like. Sit and have nicely and then say I'm not paying the bill because you cannot enter into a contract with the minor and that it is void and I am not going to be responsible for any kind of liabilities, etc. You can't say all that. Okay, because it is liability for necessary. That is necessities. Food is your necessity, basic necessity. So wherever you are eating, you're supposed to pay for it. Okay, uh, next one is clothes. Again, you cannot say that you are not going to pay for the clothes that you purchase because you are a minor. Yeah, uh, and that you will be protected by the court of law. No, you're supposed to pay for your clothes. So similarly, shelter. So say supposing you are staying in a hostel or a PG, you're supposed to pay for your shelter. Okay, and you cannot say I'm a minor and I want to stay free of cost. It's not possible. These are liability for your necessaries and you're supposed to pay as a minor for these necessities. Then the next one is minor as an agent. Okay, so can a minor be an agent? Yes, a minor can be an agent for another person, but a minor cannot employ a agent for him. He cannot be the principal and cannot have a agent appointed for him. Rather, he can act as an agent for another person. Next one, minor as a partner. Can a minor become a partner in a partnership firm? Yes, he can become a partner in a partnership firm provided he is admitted only for profits and not for liabilities. Okay, the next one, minor as a shareholder. Can a minor be a shareholder? Yes, he can be a shareholder provided he is legally represented by a guardian. He cannot deal himself with the shares, buy or sell. Rather, he can have a guardian who, on behalf of minor, can deal with the shares. Then, can minor be declared an insolvent? No, a minor cannot be declared as an insolvent. Okay, who is an insolvent person? Who is not capable of paying his debts or his liabilities. Okay, so that is another disqualification which further arises. So he cannot be disqualified such way from entering into a contract. So those are the effects of entering into a contract with a minor. The next incapable person. So first person that we saw is minor. So I told you disqualification arises when you are a minor, when you are of unsound mind, and when you are disqualified by any law to which you are subject. So the next disqualification arises when you are an unsound minded person. So what's the meaning of being an unsound minded person? When you don't have a stable state of mind. Okay, so stable state of mind will arise in two capacities. One is permanent, another one is temporary. Okay, so permanent is when you are an insane person, when you really have a psychological problem, um, you will be completely disqualified from entering into a contract. Okay, so you can take the example of any mad person. Okay, so who is in your language call them mad, by the way is calling them as insane person, who do not have some psychological issues, and so cannot stably think and take decisions, and who's disturbed psychologically. So such kind of people are permanently disqualified from entering into a contract, but still they can also enter into a contract provided they are legally represented by a guardian. Okay, now temporary disqualification is also there. Temporarily also you can become unsound minded person. That is, you can take the example of drunkards. So a drunkard is temporarily disqualified until the toxication remains in the body of a drunkard. Okay, so that's why many times I say do not believe the words of a drunkard. When you are drunk, you really are insane. Okay, so you don't have a stable state of mind. So you cannot enter into a contract with a drunkard when he is drunk. That is a temporary disqualification. Okay, so when he is all fine, when his my state of mind is stable, when he is not drunk, then you can enter into a contract. Okay, so those are unsound minded persons. The next one is other persons who are disqualified from entering into a contract. So first one is an alien enemy. So who is an alien enemy? So nothing to talk about an alien here who's from some other world and all that. But here an alien enemy is the one who belongs to a country with which your country is in war. Okay, so if your country is in war with another country, so during that situation you cannot enter into a contract with your alien enemy. After the war you are allowed to enter into a contract. Okay, the next one is insolvent. So insolvent is someone who's disqualified from entering into a contract, whose property vests in the hands of the court of law, who's uh, who does not have the capacity of paying for his debts, his liabilities. Okay, will be declared insolvent. So until the person is does not have the capacity of paying for his debts, he'll be disqualified. He'll be declared insolvent. So after he is declared as solvent, he can enter into a contract. The next one is convict. Who is a convict? Convict is a person who is undergoing imprisonment, who is behind bars, who is held guilty of a crime and is undergoing imprisonment. So you cannot also enter into a contract with a convict, and a convict cannot also enter into a contract except on one case, that is if a convict wants to file a case on somebody, he can do that even sitting back in prison. Okay, so even when he is behind bars, he can file a case against someone provided he gets a permission called or license called ticket of leave. You can see this here, ticket of leave. So once he gets that, he'll be able to enter into a contract, especially for filing a case, not for anything else. Okay, so these are the other persons who are disqualified from entering into a contract, and the consequences of entering into a contract with such kind of persons. So this is about the capability of entering into a contract, or qualifications that which is required, and the disqualifications which arise and which will not make you enter into a contract. Thank you.